If you're looking for the cheapest way to transfer or take money from your home country to Germany, then you're in the right place. In this video, we will talk about tips to bring cash with you, what services you can use for cheap transfer fees, do you need to pay taxes on the money you bring to Germany, and 3 tips to help you with smooth transfers. Hey, my name is Jen and I'm from Guatemala.
And mine is Yvonne and I'm German.
And together we're from Simple Germany, where we create English content to empower internationals to settle into life in Germany more smoothly. First option we want to explore is to bring cash with you. If your savings is less than 10,000 euros, then this might be the best option for you. This is what I did when I moved from Guatemala to Hungary, which is the first European country I landed, because I didn't have much money, to be honest. So I converted my Guatemalan quetzales into US dollars and then took those dollars, and that's how I kind of started my life in Hungary. If you're curious how I landed in Hungary first, that's a completely different story. You can watch my journey on how I ended up in Germany in this video here.
Why do we mention the 10,000 euros? Because that is the custom-free amount where you're free to travel with that kind of money in your pockets. If you're thinking like, whoa, that's weird to travel with that much money in your pockets. Well, to be honest, I also did it quite a few times because when I used to work on cruise ships back in the day, I actually got paid in cash. Yep, every month you had to wait outside an office and you got your salary paid out in cash, in US dollars. And I collected that and simply traveled with it in my hand luggage. I mean, of course, I didn't put it in my checked luggage, but that was actually no issue whatsoever.
Yes, of course, you need to keep an eye on that hand luggage at all times. The reason why we say this is because this might be the cheapest option, because depending on the country that you come from, bank transfers might be super expensive. So let's talk about that a little bit. Option number 2 is to actually use money transferring services if you have more money to transfer money from your home country to Germany. And the amount of options and how cheap this is really depends on the country you're sending the funds from. Let us explore a little bit more about this topic.
First of all, if you're transferring funds from another European account that has a SEPA account and SEPA transfers, then it is free of charge.
For everyone else in the world, we are left with using some sort of services to bring those monies into Germany. In this video, we're going to talk about the most popular money transfer service. By means, this is not an exhaustive list because, like I mentioned before, the amount of options that you have highly depend on the country that you're coming from. However, this is just to give you an overview and guide you hopefully in the right direction to think a little bit on how you can save on transferring fees to not make those international bank transfers, which cost an arm and a leg sometimes. So option number 1 is to compare your options. You can use a tool like Monito, which we're showing on the screen, where you can put the country that you want to transfer service from to the country, which is Germany in this case, and Monito will give you available options to make that transfer. Let's look at 2 options. Number 1, if you transfer money from the USA to Germany, you see that there are 5 providers listed in Monito. Wise, which is a very popular actually money transfer service among internationals, is listed as one of them. And the amount you pay for that transfer highly depends whether you want a slow transfer or a fast transfer, of course. The faster it is, the more expensive it is for you as well.
Now, if you would like to transfer money from India to Germany, the list already looks very different as Monito only shows one service provider that they put their trust in.
If you like one of the service providers showed by Monito and you like their exchange rates and everything, then you can use one of the services to make a one-time transfer from your home country or the country that you have your funds to Germany.
Option number 2 is to use Wise as a middleman. Next to the simple money transferring service that we just described, Wise also has a second function, and that is to open a multi-currency account with them and kind of like use that in between the bank account from your home country and the bank account of Germany. Let us explain. So if you're a resident of the following countries, then you can already open a multi-currency account with Wise, that's a tongue twister, before you move to Germany. Here are 2 examples of how this works. If you live in the USA,
except for Nevada,
there you go, you can open your multi-currency account with Wise without any effort. Just sign up on their website and you will get access to the account and even get a debit card. You will then automatically have a US bank account in your Wise account with a US banking number, British bank account with a British banking number, and Euro bank account with a European IBAN bank account number. You would then go ahead and transfer your funds from your local US bank account to your US bank account with the Wise routing numbers. Within the Wise account, you can then simply shift your funds from the US account to the Euro account, and once in Germany, you can use your Wise debit card to pay in euros, withdraw cash, or use your multi-currency account the euro one to transfer to your German bank account, which you should open once you land here, and you can. We have a whole video on the best German bank accounts for you.
One important thing to point out is that, of course, the transfer between your US dollar Wise account and your European Wise account is going to incur into an exchange rate because you're changing currency. So that's the fee that you're going to have to pay. So depending on the exchange rate for that day, that's how many euros you're going to get that day.
Right, but Wise is known to be very cost efficient with the best exchange rate and also quite fast. Now, as a second example, when you're from Brazil and you're living in Brazil, you can do the same. Open a multi-currency account already while you're in Brazil, get your debit card there, and then transfer your funds from your Brazilian bank account into, and now here's the difference, your, again, US bank account on your Wise account, because Wise does not offer a Brazilian real bank account. So in this case, you would have two different transaction fees. One from your Brazilian account to the US Wise account, and then within Wise to transfer from the US account to the Euro account.
If your country is not listed in this list that we showed, then you need to wait until you're in Germany to open your Wise account here and then transfer the funds from your home country. As an example, if you're from India, which is one of the countries that is not listed in this country's list, then you would need to wait until you're in Germany, open your Wise multi-currency account here, and then look at also, I think it highly depends on the exchange rate and how much it costs, transfer from your Indian bank account into your US dollar account, and then use Wise as a multi-currency exchange to exchange it into your European account, and then you have euros to work with.
If your country is not supported by Wise to open a multi-currency account from your country, then you need to wait until you're in Germany in order to use the Wise as a middleman function. You are able to open a Wise account in Germany once you're registered. If you would like to do so from your home country or within Germany, you can use our partner link in the description below. There's no extra cost for you, but we would get a small commission. Next to the list of countries where Wise supports multi-currency accounts, they also support other currencies which you can hold within your account. For example, Indian rupees. So this will be another strategy to transfer money from India through Wise as a hold currency, not as a bank account, and then access that here in Germany if you don't want to use a direct transfer, which was option 1. But then there are unfortunately some unfortunate countries in the world that don't have access to the Wise function or any other money transfer service, like Guatemala.
So in my case, if I go to Monito, there are no money transferring service that I could use according to Monito. Yes, of course, I could use services like Western Union or MoneyGram, but that requires two things. One, that someone in Guatemala needs to post money to me. And 2, it's super expensive. So I need a lot of money for that transfer to happen. And 3, I think now they probably changed their game, but back in the day, I needed to go to an official branch to pick up the money myself. Yeah. So also a lot of time.
So for those unfortunate countries, in our research, we could only find the unfortunate round of expensive bank transfer. Let's give one example from a Smoothler community member from the Dominican Republic,
which has the same conundrum as Guatemala.
Correct. The only way to transfer money from the Dominican Republic to Germany is via a traditional bank transfer. So in this case, a transfer of 1,000 euros costs her $60. That is very hefty. And the traditional way also takes a few days for the money to arrive. She has actually used Wise also as a feature. However, there is no saving money in her case. The only benefit that Wise gives her is that it's a lot faster transfer than the traditional bank. But there's still a $60 fee because the Dominican pesos are not supported by Wise.
And other options for such unfortunate countries could be to, it highly depends on your local bank from your home country, to use the debit card of your bank account at home and actually take money from an ATM here in Germany in euros directly. Again, I don't know how expensive this is. I think this highly depends on your country and what debit card or credit card you have with them. If you're in Germany and you've had to handle this conundrum of transferring your money, what has been your experience? Please leave them in the comments below. We would love to read about them, not only for us to learn, but other people that are watching this video to learn from your example of how you have handled this situation. Now to a very important question. Do you need to pay taxes on the money that you transfer from abroad to Germany?
Again, we're not tax consultants, but as far as we know, you do not, as long as this is money from your private savings, meaning it's funds you saved up and you're bringing to Germany. The moment those funds or the money comes from actual income you're earning in your home country, for example, from rental property and other income sources, then that's a different story. In this case, you're very likely that you have to pay taxes on it depending if there's a treaty with Germany or not. That is a very complicated process. And for that, please consult a tax consultant that is specialized in this. For example, our partner Prince Tax, which we will also leave in the description below.
And now here are 3 things to consider for a smooth transfer. Tip number 1 is do not transfer more than 10,000 euros at a time. This is to avoid raising red flags not only with the banks, but also with the German government. Because after a certain amount, you need to declare and have a whole form explaining why you're transferring so much money and all these things. Avoid the hassle and just keep your transfers below this amount every time.
Tip number 2 is watch out or avoid transfers on the weekends, because weekends usually processes don't work in the banking sector. So in that case, your transfer would be delayed and can be a lot slower. So ideally, do your transfer during the week.
And tip number 3 is that if you're going to do transfers more than 10,000 euros, to inform both banks. We have 2 examples. First example is of an Australian sending his funds from Australia to Germany. The Australian bank account got freaked out, thought it was a scam or he was being stolen from, so they froze his assets in Australia. He had to contact the bank and he solved it and everything was fine. Second example is a smoother who moved from South Africa to Germany and wanted to transfer their funds from South Africa to Germany. They did so successfully. However, the German bank account that they had, which was Commerzbank, saw this as a suspicious transfer and after the transfer sent him a letter informing him that unfortunately they were not going to be able to support him anymore as a customer, and he had 3 months to move the funds and find a new bank account. Not so good. So in this case, it's better to just give a heads up to both your home country and the one in Germany so they're aware of the situation and maybe guide you and tell you what things you need to look out for or forms you need to apply to avoid such a stressful situation.
Or rather do several smaller transfers at a time.
Yes. If you're looking for a German bank account, we have a video that talks about the top 4 bank accounts for internationals, which you can check out here on the left. Until next time,
Tschüss!